Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Julie Chrisley's request denied, Resentencing day revealed. Once again, Julie Chrisley has had one of her requests shut down by a judge when it comes to her resentencing hearing. Keep reading to find out what's happening with a Chrisley Knows Best star now. Julie Chrisley has a resentencing hearing coming up in the upcoming week. This comes after finding out that there was an error in her first sentencing. This week, she put in a simple request for this hearing. All she wants is to be able to wear civilian clothing to her hearing. Unfortunately for the Chrisley Knows Best star, her request has been denied by the federal judge, Fox reports. Of course, her lawyers are shocked by this news. There is no good cause for denying the defendant the opportunity to appear in civilian clothing for this hearing, they state. This isn't the first time she has been shut down, though, for a special request this hearing. Before this, she asked if she could attend via Zoom. However, she was denied that request as well. Earlier this summer, Savannah Chrisley took to her Instagram story to talk about what was going on with her mom. She revealed that Julie had put in a request to attend her hearing via Zoom, which is apparently very common. For those wondering what's going on right now, the judge denied our motion for my mother to attend her hearing via Zoom. When you are in prison, it is very customary to attend via Zoom, Savannah writes on her Instagram story. She continues, clearly very emotional, sharing that she now has to be worried for her mother's safety as she is transported and shackled for this hearing. A clearly very upset Savannah continues writing, "What does this mean? My mother will be shackled and transported for the next month, plane, bus, etc. with men, some of whom are violent," she explains. "I don't know when I will hear from her next." This punishment does not fit the alleged crime. Hopefully for Julie, her sentencing goes well this week, and she is not put in any dangerous situations as she travels to the hearing in person. Only time will tell what the outcome of the whole thing is. Do you think Julie Chrisley should be allowed to wear civilian clothing to her hearing? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to come back for more news on all of your favorite reality TV stars. The prison walls had grown familiar to Julie Chrisley. The sterile hallways, the muted clatter of metal doors, the monotonous routines, none of it felt temporary anymore. It had been nearly 2 years since she and her husband, Todd, were sentenced for financial crimes. And the glamorous life once defined by reality television, Southern charm, and designer handbags had been stripped down to cold cots and cafeteria trays. Yet even within that bleak reality, Julie had clung to hope. Her attorneys had filed request after request, appeals layered with emotional pleas and legal arguments. They argued for her release on health grounds, for her sentence to be reduced, for any crack in the stone wall of federal judgment. She had leaned on prayer, letters from fans, and the resilience she always tried to model for her children. But this week, that fragile hope was dealt another blow. The court officially denied Julie's request for early release, citing that her arguments did not meet the necessary standards. Her lawyers had fought fiercely, pointing to her history of good behavior, her struggles with her health, and the emotional toll on her children. But the judge's decision was sharp and unwavering. Julie Chrisley would not be leaving prison early. Instead, she would be returning to court, though not for the freedom she longed for. A resentencing day had been scheduled, giving her and Todd one more chance to stand before a judge. The word resentencing had a strange, double-edged meaning. For Julie, it carried the shimmer of a second chance, but also the shadow of a harsher outcome. A family in limbo. News of the denial and the resentencing date rippled through the Chrisley family like a storm. Savannah, now both older sister and caretaker for her younger siblings, immediately took to her podcast microphone, her voice steady but laced with fury. "They keep dragging my mom through this," she said, her words cutting with frustration. "We're not just talking about a sentence, we're talking about a mother, a grandmother, a woman who has done nothing but love her family and try to fight through every trial. And now she has to go back in front of the court, again." Her words captured the rawness of a family living in limbo. Chloe, still too young to fully comprehend the labyrinth of legal terms, asked questions that made Savannah's heart ache. Grayson, once a carefree teenager, carried the weight of adulthood too soon, learning to navigate milestones without the presence of his parents. Todd, serving his own time in a separate facility, wrote letters to Julie every week. He encouraged her, reminded her of the faith that once held their family together on television screens across the country. But even his words, often dripping with bravado and confidence, could not erase the heaviness of another court date looming on the horizon. Inside Julie's mind. At night, in the stillness of her cell, Julie replayed every moment of the trial that had landed her here. The jurors' stern faces, the prosecutor's biting words, the judge's sentence ringing in her ears like a final bell. She had once thought that fame might shield her family from the cruelty of the world. That being America's favorite Southern mom meant people would see the kindness in her heart rather than the accusations printed in black and white court documents. But reality had been far harsher. When she heard that her request for release had been denied, she felt as if her breath had been stolen from her chest. But hearing that resentencing day had been set, well, that stirred something different inside her. Not hope exactly, but resolve. This wasn't the end. She began preparing herself in ways the prison chaplain had taught her, through prayer, journaling, and long conversations with the women around her. In prison, she had found a different kind of sisterhood. Some women had been through multiple resentencings, others had seen their time reduced, and still others had seen it doubled. "It's a gamble," one inmate had told her, "but it's a role you gotta take if it means one more shot." Julie knew she had to be strong, not just for herself, but for Savannah, for Grayson, for Chloe, and even for Todd. The media storm. Of course, the Chrisleys' legal battles were never private affairs. From the moment the denial and resentencing date hit court records, the tabloids and entertainment blogs exploded. Headlines screamed, "Julie Chrisley denied again. Will she face a tougher judge?" Resentencing date revealed. Could Julie walk free? From reality TV to real-life drama, Chrisley family can't escape spotlight. Reporters speculated endlessly. Some argued that Julie might see her sentence reduced given her clean prison record and family obligations. Others warned that resentencing could open the door for prosecutors to push for an even harsher penalty.